in the words of that forgotten 1960s and 1970s British rock band, who are you? Who? But first, if you're looking for a way to spice up your autumn, go get yourself some Chipotle beef bone broth, some Kettle and Fire. It's one of their many offerings this time of year. They do the bone broth low and slow, at least 10 hours, simmered with organic veggies and herbs. Make it good for you. Get that collagen in there, high protein. It'll work with your intermittent fasting diet. It'll work with your keto diet. You can fill up your box and get 10% off by using code BetterHumanhood at checkout. That's kettleandfire.com. KETTLEANDFIRE.com. Use code BetterHumanhood at checkout for 10% off. Hey, Kelvin, how you doing?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Hoo. Oh, man. I mean, I wonder if the audience realizes that I never, ever know what you're going to say your first sound utterances on our podcast. And so
I think they probably figured that out because this is episode number 175, and I think you've probably giggled 140 times.
Sometimes multiple times in the same podcast. And you would think that I would be smart enough just not to fall for that each time. But
well, at least you've learned not to pick up your coffee when I'm going to start.
That is correct. I do not pick up my coffee when you're about to start because I just and sometimes I don't even know you're starting. I just see this look on your face and I was like, oh, his screen froze, and then no, you do something weird. But something energizing. That's the term. The term energizing. That's it.
How come every time that boy opens his mouth, something weird comes out?
Yeah, my goodness. So anyway, I'm doing fine. It's October 4th here in upstate New York, or where are we? Central New York, and some of that typical fall weather is coming in. Little brisk mornings, gray clouds, almost as gray as the screen on your iPhone. Which is new, yeah. But anyway, life is good. I'm healthy. I'm breathing. I'm talking. Nobody's throwing stuff at me, like generally speaking, anyway. So life's all right.
That's what happens when you don't let anybody in your house.
Well, I mean, we don't need to get technical. You always just got to go for the jugular there. Just because everybody's locked out, nobody's tried to break in. Even the mice don't bother me anymore.
I guess that's good.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good. And that's a whole other...
You give them a warm place to stay, they leave you alone.
Yeah, I'm liking that. It was really weird a couple of years ago because I had a bunch of mice here. I don't know, which started many years ago when the last ex-wife, she may have done this on purpose, left a 50-pound bag of bird seed in the garage when she left. Couldn't have been thinking I was going to feed the birds. That just couldn't have been in her mind. But I noticed at that time, one day I went out in the garage, and in the corner of the garage was about 1.5 feet high pile of chewed up bird seed. And what do you call those things? I can't even think of what it is now. Anyway, seeds. Stuff. Shells.
Like the husks, yeah.
Yes. And I was like, what in the world is that? And then I got a little closer and went, oh my gosh, there's mice, because right next to that were Pixie and Dixie holes. I'm like, I think that means I have a mouse problem. And eventually they revealed themselves. Friendly little suckers. But we got rid of them eventually when the stink bugs came to inhabit the house. That's another episode.
That's an entirely other problem. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I had to choose between stink bugs and mice, stink bugs won. So I let them live because they got rid of the mice.
Well, and they do a lot less damage to the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't chew through stuff usually.
The only deal I had with them was, okay, I'd let them live, but they are not allowed to dive bomb my face. That was just, and do that fly. Okay, look, we had a deal. You're doing all right, but when you start flying into my face, that's not fun. I'm gonna have to spray you then.
That's me with spiders.
Yeah.
Not near the bed. Not near the bed, toilet, or shower.
I used to when my office was in the basement. I haven't had it much a problem up here, but I'd be sitting at the computer. These are wild, the random conversations we have, and I would just see a glimpse of something, and it's when they decide to take that single strand of web and just bring it down in the middle of my desk, in between me and I'm like, can't you see I'm busy? Okay. Spider is like buzzing. I mean, zipping around my head. I'm like, okay, I'm not good with that. And some of them were ugly.
Yeah,
but that's a whole nother life adventure.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got those big old wolf spiders down here.
You guys got tarantulas too, don't you?
Nah, I mean,
I know you got.
They're not native here.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I mean, we've got those. We got those big old wolf spiders that are, like the bodies that are the size of your fist.
Those. Oh, yeah. I hate
them. And they're really hairy, but they're totally harmless. They just, if they surprise you, you want to take a baseball bat.
To everything in the area.
Yeah, just like burn it down and go find somewhere else to live. But,
there you go. There you go. So that's how I'm doing. I don't know if that was a little excess, but it's Friday. What do you want?
It's the pest control edition of the podcast.
Exactly.
This will be
How about you?
This will not be a new feature running weekly.
No, not at all.
What are we trying to get out of our house today?
Oh my gosh. So how about you? How's your week?
Things are good here. We got to see some friends this week. Got to watch some toddler twins run around and tear up the house and give us a future of what we have to hide from the baby, and how we. Let's just say after they left, I had to run a couple laps around the house to see what was where.
Well, it's nice to have that kind of energy in the house.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes, yeah.
Also nice when you can give them back.
Yeah. That's okay. Your 20-month-old energy demon's coming up.
Yeah, well, at least it'll just be one of them.
Of course, she might not have all the adventurousness of two 20-month-old boys.
Yeah, and also two 20-month-old boys who are in, for what all intents and purposes, is a new space to them. I mean, they've been here before, but they were basically different people, the last time they were here. I mean, 8 months ago, they were a year old.
It's a lifetime.
Yeah.
They got personalities now.
Yeah. And I mean, they have a different understanding of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's got to be insane. We took my daughter for her 9-month appointment. Remember, she's 9 months old. They would check her progress and all that. And she had been to the pediatricians plenty, but not since she was 6 months old. And that's a that difference there, that 3 months since she had been there, it's a third of her life. And she's like, this place looks vaguely familiar, but who are these people? And, because she was so small, we took extra trips with her to the pediatrician when she was, in her first few months. They see most babies, every 2 weeks up to 2 months, then again at 4 months, then again at 6 and 9. And they saw her every week until she was 2 months, and they saw her at 3 months and at 4 months. Then
oh wow, that's because
then at 6 months and 9 months. She wasn't, but she was growth restricted. She came out just very small, and Jen and I are both small people. We weren't going to have a giant baby, but she was particularly small. She came out at 4 pounds 8 ounces, and she came home at 4 pounds nothing. So
wow.
So little, but she's on the growth curve. She low on the growth curve, but she's on it.
Cool.
Now, and apparently she's got a giant head. She's got her height, I think, was in the 2nd percentile, and her weight is in the 7th percentile, and her head circumference is in like the 23rd percentile.
Oh, that means she's going to be a genius. Based on, folklore.
Okay.
So cool.
So anyway, that's how we're doing.
Podcast, where we talk about better humanhood and teach you how to dominate your world. You ready? Here we go.
I was looking at your vitamin K the other day.
Oh? You read my vitamin K?
I do first thing every day.
Thank you.
I won't tell you where I read it.
Sometimes details aren't important.
It's the first thing every day. I will tell you that I don't allow myself video early in the day. So anytime you append a video, I never get to see it because I've read I've read the vitamin K hours and hours before I'll watch any video. But you only put that in occasionally anyway.
I only do that occasionally.
Typically, yeah. But you wrote this one about letting other people define who you are, and I thought that was striking home a little bit.
Do say?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well. Yeah, in fact, when I was going through school, I was very good at arithmetic, and the logical applications of math. So I was good at algebra and calculus. Not so good at geometry, but I think I understand it better having had algebra and logic, having been through those later courses. My brain worked backwards through that. When I was going through school, you took algebra 1, then you took geometry, then you took algebra 2. Then you took trigonometry and pre-calculus and calculus. But the geometry in that order didn't resonate with me. It did later for me. But anyway, I was good at arithmetic and logical functions. So when I was going to college, I went in as a civil engineering major.
Oh.
Now, the problem with that, it turns out, is I'm very good on paper at arithmetic and the logical applications of mathematics. Once you put it in practice, however, yeah, not so much. Not so much. This is how I ended up going into news, just a few years later.
Okay.
So, I started my adult life basically as what somebody else decided I was, and then, became my own. But you mentioned at the beginning, and I'll actually just open it and read it. We spend a lot of time letting other people define who we are because most of us really don't look inward to see for ourselves. At some point in life, we must all take responsibility for who we are and what we become. We can spend a lot of time as victims, blaming people and situations from our past for who and where we are today, but often that blame is misplaced. And I've actually, if I'm honest with myself, I've spent a lot of time this year playing victim. I've got this job that I work in the evenings and on the weekends, and I have this baby that I am blessed to stay home with all day. But watching over a baby all day and then going to work at night doesn't leave a lot of time for things like sleep and things like my own health. And I spent probably about the first, well, not the first 3 months of her life, but kind of that middle, like 3 to 7 months, pretending I was a victim of having a baby at home.
Pretending you were a victim. Okay.
Yeah. Well, just say, okay, well, my health's going to pot, and I'm exhausted all the time, and my job performance is slipping, and I'm not doing anything that I want to do. And it's all because I'm home with the baby during the day, and she's not in daycare, and we don't have money for daycare, and none of that's true. Like, we could put her in daycare if we wanted, but it shouldn't need to be in daycare yet. She's not losing out on socialization and the learning that she can get in daycare yet. We're not holding her back, and honestly, it's great that I can spend this quality time with her. Because it's not going to be long before she don't want anything to do with her parents, and and she will be.
Time flies when you're having fun, yeah.
And at some point, she will be in daycare and learning that stuff. But we will be putting out that money, and this gives us an opportunity to put some away and save for that time. So. I decided a while ago that I was going to stop being that victim, that I was going to take control. And, here we are a couple months later, and I'm finally getting a little bit of that farmer's tan that I usually spend the summer with. And I'm getting outside more, and I'm getting more exercise, and I'm eating some better. And, we went to the grocery store this morning and, loaded up on decent stuff. So here we are back to being our own person, ruled a little bit by my next cup of coffee sometimes, but that's something that I have the ability to change that maybe I don't want to change.
Absolutely. Well, I was
going to say, what spurred this? What spurred this, and how do you? I know that this probably is one that has gone out before in some form.
They go out. They go out in some form, but every once in a while, I go read through my stuff, and I'll just get an urge to, because I've been writing this stuff now since like 2003 or something like that. I've been publishing Vitamin K for the last. Oh wow! Wait a minute. What's the date? Oh, in another 12 days, it'll be 9 years.
Well, that'll be 2 days from when people hear this, right? It'll be the 16th.
Oh, yeah. So on the 16th, which is actually the birthday of my oldest son, way back in 2010, I started writing this thing, and mostly at request. But at any rate, I learned a lot about life. Tony Robbins was one of my biggest. I don't want to say hero, because I've said before I don't have any heroes, but if I had one, he'd be one. Right? I learned so much about life and stuff from him. And every once in a while, you can be going along on a pretty good path, and you forget. Something happens, and you start to feel, I don't know, incompetent, or you start to feel used, or you start to feel any number of ways, and you forget how much control you have over your own life. And an awful lot of times, changing our life requires just a small decision. Basically, it's a decision to do something different. I put in the post here, it's kind of like catching a ride downtown with somebody, and they drop you off on a particular corner by a particular light, and they leave, and then you sit there and complain about where you are without ever taking the effort to leave that spot. When you could have gone across the street, you could have gone in the store or whatever behind you, you could have crossed the other street. If you're in New York, I don't know, maybe get a jaywalking ticket. I don't know when you do that. But the fact of the matter, you didn't have to stay in that spot. And I've had a couple of things in my life recently when I was feeling like I was stuck on that street corner. And one of the cool things for me is I've always wanted to be, I try not to be one of those people who writes one thing and lives another way.
Right on.
So when I write this stuff, I believe it, I'm living it. And every once in a while we have a little shift, and we go back and read my stuff, and I go, I'm not living that anymore. I'm not, for whatever reason, I'm not taking responsibility for that piece in my life. And I ran across a situation recently where that was my case. And I said, I have to stop that, because if I can't be authentic with this stuff, I really need to stop writing it. Now, I've told a lot of people, you notice that I am not sitting here telling you how to become rich. I haven't done that yet. So I'm not talking about you can become rich doing this. But, when it comes to mastering your mindset, when it comes to changing the routine things that come into your head, I can help you. I can help people with that, because I've done that for myself. And I wish it was a skill that never left, but sometimes it fades. Things might get good for a while, and you forget you have the power to do that kind of stuff. Like last night, I was at my Toastmasters group. Everybody should go to Toastmasters. Did I ever say that? And we talk about reframing things. When you go out in the world and you're driving someplace and somebody pulls across in front of you, and you go, that dirty, rotten SOB, they tried to cut me off. They could have caused an accident and blah, 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 blah. And we're all locked now into blaming that person for causing us discomfort. Well, they didn't kill us. So how about the part where you reverse that, reframe that, and go, my skills, my reflexes are still really good. Hot diggity. Man, I am so happy that I have the ability to assess a situation and react quickly and save myself, and that kind of thing, which would take, a lot different tact than that guy almost killed me. Because I look at it as fate kind of testing my reflexes to see how I'm doing. I'm doing good. All right. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to chase him down and see if he does it again, but I can take I can take not even pride, but satisfaction in the fact that I am alert. Because I know a lot of people my age who aren't. I know a lot who aren't as, dexterous as I am and stuff like that. So when I look around some of the situations that I've been in, let's say not making a lot of money right now, knowing I have all kinds of skills, I can't really complain about that. It's like, well, what am I doing actually to fix that? And I mean, I have a lot of possibilities. We both write. We both, you and I write. We podcast, do all that other stuff. So I know for a fact from past experience that if I am not where I want to be, it's because there's something I'm not doing. And it's not even a matter of the ability to do. It's a matter of not doing. So then, by then we've probably lulled ourselves into a little comfort zone. Because I got to tell you, man, that sitting around complaining about how bad life sucks, that's a horrible habit. But it's so comfortable because it relieves you of the responsibility to work.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get tired of being that guy, especially since I'm telling other people how to make their lives better, I cut that out. Get up and do something. And I will say chances are that once you decide to do that, life will challenge you. Prove it. Prove it.
Yeah,
but that's what got me back on this again.
And you mentioned something about ability in there, and there are so many things that we have the ability to do that we don't give ourselves credit for, and if we don't have those skills at hand, they're so easy to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an example. We went to Pep Boys.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's car needed a bulb for her headlight. So they went in back and they brought out the bulb. And they said, okay, here is a $7 light bulb. Now, we can put this in for you, but I have to log it I have to log it on the books, which means that we got to charge you an hour of labor for it, which is going to cost you $50. Wow. Or you can go use the parking lot for as long as you want and put it in yourself. And you know what?
What's that?
We went to YouTube and we looked up how to put a light bulb in, and they had a video of somebody putting it in that exact car.
Oh, wow.
It took us a while because it turns out that you have to have tiny hands to get in there,
mm-hmm.
or long tools.
Well, yeah.
But we figured out how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We were there for 40 minutes, which is less than the hour they would have had us in there anyway. Mm-hmm. And we changed that light bulb.
There you go.
Hey, here's another letting other people define you things. Mm-hmm. When I was in 8th grade, I had to take an art class. I was not good at it.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher made sure I knew I was not good at it. Teacher called in my parents and said, I know your son is an honor student, but he is not good at art. I will give him a C, but do not let him take any more art classes. So that is something I went through my entire life with.
Mm-hmm.
And really, he was just not teaching me the way that I needed to be taught. And so I went over to one of our favorite sites, Udemy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I spent $5 on a how to draw course. And I'm not making masterpieces, but I am I understand the concept now.
Yes, indeedy. And I got to tell you, we have you can take a course on anything. You can take a course on how to reframe your mindset and how to change your mind. Maybe I should put that one out.
I would say we should just put that together and
and do that. But sometimes we're convinced we can't learn something. Like I had a really good friend, and I'm not going to mention any names here. Who was is on the autistic spectrum, and I realize there's a lot of complications when you start talking about something like autism, and you can't just go around willy-nilly telling people that doesn't affect them. But I didn't. But this particular individual I knew was really sharp, and they had a really good mind. They had really thoughts. They didn't always have control of their particular emotion at the moment, right? But they always came back around. And there were some times when they had some things to do, and they didn't do it as well as they thought they should or something, and they would say, well, I can't help it because I'm on the spectrum. Well, I can't help it because I'm on the spectrum. And I said to them one day, I don't ever want to hear you say that again. And they said, well, but I am. And I said, that's true. But the fact is, you do a lot of things. You're good at a lot of things. You can do a lot of things. And as long as you keep telling yourself, I can't because I'm on the spectrum, you will deprive yourself of the opportunity to learn. Because some of the stuff that you're saying you can't do, with a little bit of persistence and with a little bit of determination, you can do.
Yeah, and you might have to take a different path than some of us. But it doesn't mean it can't be done.
No. And as it is now, this person did that. They thanked me many, many years later. Well, they thanked me 6 months later because they were suddenly doing things that they had told themselves before they couldn't do. And, they still ran into a glitch from time to time. But they're like, you taught me to take responsibility for what I was doing. You taught me to own my process. Or my situation, and I've done that, and you've helped me a lot. And I watch them now, and it is amazing the stuff they do. And it's like they're helping people all over. They're helping other people overcome the stuff that they overcame because of that mindset. So it's not, I'm not going to get into medical stuff or psychiatric stuff, but within any spectrum of things, there is a range in which we can function and function better, and we can learn to function better. And with neuroplasticity being the way it is, if you can improve a little bit, you can improve a little bit more.
Right. Well,
I've done a lot of study on neuroplasticity, and basically you can make new brain waves where there are none. I know people, for instance, a good friend of mine, and this goes to who are you, had an accident, and they had a traumatic brain injury. This was an artist, a photographer friend. Her name is Suzette Allen, as a matter of fact, and she had an accident at one point. She's told this story. And it kind of crushed her brain. When she got through with this accident, she could not talk. She couldn't discern colors. She couldn't count. She couldn't do any of that stuff. And through assistance, she's a very spiritual person. She did a lot of praying. She did a lot of practicing. And now, not only did she overcome that, because she had to relearn colors. She had to relearn how to count. She had to relearn the order and sequence of things. But you wouldn't think of a person like that being one of the world's foremost instructors in something such as Photoshop. She's a brilliant, brilliant person. And she lost that. She got it back because she worked at it. Was it easy? Oh, no, she'll tell you the story. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of work. But faith, belief, and action is what triggers the next step. And every time I get one of those things, I remember people like her. I remember people like my other friend who overcame their issues. And I say, okay, that's why I keep writing this stuff. Even when I forget to use it myself occasionally, of course, then I got a good cheering squad because people like them and, it's a guy named Josh Shear that I know. If I forget it, they remind me. And I go, oh, yeah, I do that. So I've never wanted to be perfect. But yes, sir, you have something?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if you think you can't learn something or relearn something, then, we've both taken this course called the Master Keys.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the exercises we do, and we'll modify it here, is grab some index cards, write down on each one something that you've learned, and shuffle through them a couple of times a day and read them, and you will see, oh, you've got a habit of learning things. You can learn something else.
Right.
Oh yeah, I've done that. Oh, I did that. Oh, I learned that. I learned that. I learned that. I learned that. Okay, I guess I can learn things.
Yeah, because, from what I understand, we weren't born doing anything. We didn't have skills. We just had receptors.
I have this in very recent memory. We're born with a suckling reflex, and we're born with a gripping reflex. And the gripping reflex is in the wrong limbs.
Oh.
Your hands grip, but
right.
So do your feet.
Right.
So we even had to unlearn how to grip with our toes so that we could stand.
Right. So that's the thing, is who are you really? Stop telling yourself who you're not. Well, let me rephrase it. Well, you can still that too, but the biggest thing is not to let other people define you that way. Because if you have, chances are, if you got all your parts and everything's working properly, you can learn something else. If you got all your faculties and you're standing on a corner in New York and you don't like where you are, you can walk across the street.
Yeah, and you don't even have to be on the corner in New York to walk across the street. You can be on pretty much any corner anywhere and walk across the street.
The anomaly, wrong one, the analogy. Hey, nobody said I was a genius here, right? The analogy is applicable. If you don't like where you are, what can you do to move? Don't say nothing. If you have limbs that function and brains that work and you can move around, don't say there's nothing you can do, because chances are that's not correct. But if you convince yourself it's correct, then you kind of doom yourself to where you are.
It's true.
And if you look at it, that's a choice. If you didn't try to get out of it, that's definitely a choice. Whether you like to see that or believe that or feel that or not, because I will admit that when you decide that you're going to take responsibility for your life and your circumstances, it's kind of a scary moment, but it's an empowering moment. And it is not without its challenges, but that's what makes it so awesome when you're done.
It's a great place to close. Thank you, Kelvin, for all of that. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. And thank you to Kettle and Fire. Go to kettleandfire.com. Fill up your box and take 10% off by using code BetterHumanhood at checkout. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Show notes and more at jkwdpodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends, and we will see you next week. Bye. A Better Humanhood production.